Hey, how's it going?
Good. Talk to me, Goose. How's things on your end?
Good. I'm actually have my camera off because I'm on a walk with my family here, but
Oh, cool.
no, doing well. I actually just joined up like 2 weeks ago or so as far as the NEPQ 3.0 stuff. So I've been doing virtual sales up here, Pacific Northwest.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, so based in Washington. Yeah, just wanted to learn more. Not exactly.
The Northwest is like blowing up right now.
Well, aren't you? I watched one of your videos, like an interview with Jeremy Miner, and he had talked about being in Idaho. Is that they still working? Idaho?
I was like born and raised in Middle Idaho.
Oh, okay. Maybe I misheard that then.
Yeah. No, yeah, born and raised in Idaho.
Cool.
And
Yeah,
I heard,
it's starting to blow up because it's, I mean, energy's really, really cheap, but it's starting to go up, and people are kind of seeing the uncertainty in other areas of the country, which kind of drives them to look at the options. But I mean, there's some areas here. The average is about maybe like 8 to 9 cents a kilowatt hour, but there's some areas where we're at like 3 cents a kilowatt hour, and so it's, I mean, we're tripling people's monthly bill if they do go solar. So it's kind of it's definitely a newer market for that kind of stuff.
yeah. It's an interesting market. Surprising how well it's doing.
Yeah, definitely. So did you do any sort of sales before
Yeah.
solar, or was this been it for you as far as sales execution?
Oh, gosh. I did alarm, door, and that code, too. That was terrible. That's where I first came across Miner, actually, was door to door. He was the man doing alarms.
Were you at Pivot, or were you at another company?
I was actually at Pinnacle, and then none of us got paid, and then everybody ended up over at ATEC, turned into them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Very cool.
that's kind of how that went.
So then what caused the change into solar?
I was working for my cousin. He owned the alarm company, and at that same time, he was when Vivian got into solar for the first time, and so he stopped being. He stopped doing his own alarm business and just be a rep in good old Pinebrook, New Jersey, in that post office. So I just followed him over. In like 2012, I think it was, or 2011.
Sorry, I'm gonna mute myself because I got a lot of parts to go out.
You're cool. I need to find standby. Is standby in on here? What's going on, Reese? What's up? It's good for your heart.
Mine's pre-mixed.
The quickest way to 10x your sales, whatever. Just
That's the one. I love that one. That's how you can get those 19K deals.
right there, dude. Go big or go home. Hard if you're not, you're close. You're having a heart attack, dude. Come on now. Let me get fired. We'll see you next week. You know why? That's funny stuff. I'm gonna see if I can post in the notes. The notes for this call when it's set.
California for?
September 17th at least.
Oh, okay.
Today is going to be on closing and objections. I want to get it in the chat so you guys can see what I'm looking. Usually I have Sam do this to the news. Anybody have any successes last week? Challenges? What's working, what's not working?
I actually had an interesting scenario where on near the end of the week, I think it was a Friday or Saturday, I had a consultation with a couple and sold them a re-roof as well as a solar system. And then I think it was Saturday, come Monday, they reached out and wanted to cancel. So I had a chat with the guy, and we talked about a half hour. You know what caused. It was mostly kind of like an uncertainty thing as far as timeline. He wanted to make sure the roof was done in time for the winter, and so we kind of talked about like his uncertainty and stuff. And like I remember thinking I kind of had the option to sort of push him into not canceling because he was kind of impressionable, or just kind of give him his autonomy. So, anyways, he canceled, and I kind of left him like, hey man, it's that's your choice, it's all good. And then he actually hit me up 2 days later, and he said, hey, I found another roofing contractor. I'm gonna do my roof through them, but I do want to do my solar for you. So then we reactivated his account, and we got him going. But I just thought it was interesting because I kind of, when I had my conversation with him and he wanted to cancel, I used some of the NPQ sort of questions to kind of leave him like still thinking, even though he had canceled. And 2 days later, he came back. So kind of an interesting success story.
Nice. It's good to get these ads. You want to get underneath the concern. Can you guys see that in the chat right there?
And how important that actually is. So, Troy, welcome to the call. Good morning,
I was thinking about it last night, and I didn't. This sounds good word, but like if I want to think about it at the end of the sale, I didn't do my job right.
Marvin, good to have you.
Saying I want to think about it isn't even the concern, right? It's like, what did I do? So it's like I know I did my job right if I don't get an objection, towards the end. And so
Marvin, good to have you. Michael, welcome.
I've gotten underneath every concern that they do have by like probing deeper and clarifying, and just curious can ask why you asked that, and that responded to the question. Because I was just curious, I was like, I didn't get an objection at the end, like not one. It was kind of crazy, But I know that I did something wrong when I hear. I want to think about it. I know I didn't get underneath all the layers of their concern. There's something there. They don't feel comfortable telling me what it is, and I should find that out at the end. But let's go through this. What are you guys noticing at the end when it comes to the close? How are you guys feeling about closing? Or what training questions do you guys like to use? Who wants to go role play? Who's getting some resistance towards the end of the deal? You guys just signing up everybody? Good for you. Yeah. I actually, the two questions that I like to use is the first one's not even a closing question. It's more a check-in question. I need to get going. Let's just up to this point, you guys feel comfortable with what we covered just up to this point? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, why though? Can I ask why though? And then they tell me all their hot dogs. It's crazy. And then I'll say, do you feel like there's something you can do that will get you what you're wanting? And they're like, yeah. And usually they've told me enough to where I don't need to go deep on that. And then, well, Mr. Jones, if we have anything else to go over, I'm saying, Mike, I would look for. Really, the next step is, is we have to authorize the agreements we can schedule a survey and want to make sure this program partners would that be appropriate. And I've literally had one person still give me an objection after they've answered those. And it's a good thing I had minor on the box, so that box is asking the rules. And he's like, just ask them, how are you going to save money if you go solar? And so I was like, how are you going to save money if you go solar? And there was about a 3-second pause. Like, you know what, that's right. Signed up. And so that's how I go about it. That's how I like it. I was just curious before I go, just at this point, you guys comfortable with what we're covering just at this point? Yeah. Can I ask why though? And those are the points where it's like, you know, just we asked for you. That was awesome. You feel like this might be what you're looking for? Awesome. It's still neutral languaging. And if you did your job right, what's not that one?
Fast forward because I logged into my APS account.
Are you kidding me,
Yeah,
man?
so
All right, so this is my bill.
hit pause.
Yep.
So I love that you showed them your bill and your high bill. It's like, look how much I have to pay. Like, that's good. Like, like I have solar in my house, so it's cool that I can show them, you know, solar and how it works.
Just to think about it, try to probe into what you meant by that. What do you do when they just don't open up about it? Obviously, something wrong in my process. If I go through the process correct and stick to any PQ script, like I should get that. But you know, how do you
give some context? When did they say that? Was it the door?
towards the end, this lady's very scared to make any decisions. She's never made any big decision on her home before. She literally told me that, you know, and I asked some questions off of that, like if she would. But like she just, and her sister was there too. She just.
How's Trenton doing?
I don't know. It was right at the end. I was like,
What's up, bro?
what exactly? I was just trying to figure out what she wanted to think about.
Getting right, I love it, dude. You do some sprints. Driving home from the gym, yes, sir. Where'd you hit up?
Is huge.
Driving home.
So with people like that,
How's Trent?
all we're trying to do is just see how they're seeing it, right? We don't know how they're seeing it. And we're just trying to get some information. Labels and mirrors are amazing. Your tonality needs to be especially well. Like with the questions, your tonality is going to create the feel. And if you're not working with your tonality, then it's going to come across like it can come across salesy. So people like that, like in the chat, like just label whatever the dynamic is, label that. In the notes, there was a couple that we put here. It's like yeah, it sounds like you don't think it'll play out like this. It sounds like things too good to be true. It sounds like you've heard an organ out for some people. It sounds like you came across some information with heavy concern.
How's Trenton doing?
At the end of the day, like,
What's up, bro?
if they don't want to sign up now, they're going to come for whatever reason. Or this before this. And so sometimes a good way to go about that to kind of see, to kind of flush out if this is like a true concern is play that out. And what I mean by play that out is like, I want to speak with so-and-so. Sure, not a problem. Supposed to know that you go and speak with so-and-so, you know, they had good things to say. What do you see happening next? And then depending on how they respond to that, I know if it's a real concern, or if they're just kind of brushing me off nicely. Does that make sense? Yeah, so one, labels and mirrors. So label the dynamic, label what's going on. It sounds like Gabriel's saying that, sounds like Gabriel's asking that, sounds like that's important to you, sounds like there's something about this that just doesn't work for you. And then go quiet, and then when they start to speak, whatever you want to probe deeper on, that's what you need. And it honors their autonomy more. You'll get more information out of them. And then identity as well. You want to switch out ideas for identity as much as possible.
How would you like a lady that's never done anything on her home before, like what kind of identity do you want to assign to her? Because I tried to
Well,
use,
she's
like,
seeing seeing it as like this big ordeal, like, so that the issue already is how she's seeing this. So and so when she's like anything like this, I would clarify. I'd wear like anything like this, anything big, and let her explain herself. It's like it's sometimes I'll be like, yeah, people make solar out to be one of like this. Like at the end of the day, it's just like electricity. Like I'll leave here and go start buying electricity because that's how it is. At least I never had a choice on how. Like the only question is like how. How are you going to be paying for electricity? So I would downplay. Make her clarify because she has a picture in her head of that she thinks this is a big deal. Is it like big deal? So labels, mirrors, and then also you want to keep the eye on the prize. A lot of times we just sit and we're just like in defensive mode, where we're just like defending solar, so to say. And when we're defending solar, we're not thinking about any of the good things about solar. And our brain's only focused on one thing at a time. And whatever you focus on, you fail. And so she's only focused on the bad about that's all that she's going to fail. So it's like it's a dance to where you're not, where you are over, you're overcoming the objection, you're getting underneath it, but then you're also painting a picture of what it's the benefits of what it's going to be like for the future as well. And sometimes you got to cut them off. Sometimes you can drop your keys. You can put it like go as far as putting like an OtterBox case on your phone so you can drop the phone just to interrupt, pattern interrupt, and then be like, well, I understand that. And if you were to stop and think about what you do want, what does that look like? Because you got to get them on that first step. So I think in that one you can flesh it out with labels. It sounds like there's something about this that just doesn't work for you. It sounds like for whatever reason, like, yeah. And then let the silence work in your favor. And then whatever solution that they offer, just say that, like, okay, cool, yeah, no problem. Supposed to know that you did X, Y, Z, and they liked it, and you felt comfortable. What do you see happening next? And then depending on how they respond, you can see how they're going to turn this. What other questions we got? Okay. I got 3 examples if I want to think about it here in the chat. We got good old Matt Riders, we got miners, and we got anybody know who Paul Ross is? He's the number 1 linguist in the world, and there's also some movies made about that guy. Pull up in the chat, you can see that. I like the way the monitor goes about it. It's really, really good. I can appreciate that. What I can do if this helps you, if you have your calendar handy, I can pull up mine. Schedule some good time for you to chase me down, vice versa. And answer. And you're like, okay, I understand. And tell me more about why that came out. You want to be very careful when you use why questions. That is an amazing time to use a why question. They're defend, but they have to defend. It's genius to use a why question. And a lot of times you can just walk back out. I mean, you can just walk back to the table. And what's interesting, it sounds, it'll surprise you how all of a sudden you're still in the house, but they're like answering the questions. So, on a side note, when you change the context, you change what behavior is acceptable now. You can give them, so it's like you give them permission. You change the context, you give them permission to behave in a different way. So when you're inside the house and I'm on the table with you, Michael, let's say, and it's like, hey, I want to think about it. If I do anything but just say, yeah, if I try to like overcome that objection right there, it's like it's a battle, right? It's like you versus me. But just by saying, yeah, not a problem, if you ever down there and at what time, these guys were trying to chase you down, vice versa. When I'm standing up and I'm walking away, it's like now the context has changed. Like in the future when we speak again, like what is it that you want to think about exactly? Like the context is not the same. Like you said something and we honored that and we're sticking with that and that's the plan. And we're not going to talk again until here. And so we've shifted the context. And when you shift the context, you shift permission of what's socially acceptable, how they can behave. So he can still save face, like I'm a man and I'm in control of this conversation. Like you honored that, and he feels that that's the way. But at the same time, he can tell you what his actual concern is. Why? Because the context has shifted. Does that make sense? And so, if you memorize that, one of the reasons why that works, and it's like why is because they feel comfortable. The context is just different, and that's all that they need to be able to be able to say what they want to say. Because it's like you're throwing in the towel, and it's interesting. It's truly interesting. But you change the only reason they're saying no to solar is because of the context. And so that will work really well because it's a different context and they feel comfortable and they have permission to tell you more stuff. So it's really interesting when you change the context, you change what's allowed, what behaviors are allowed and not allowed. School.
How about you? How they just open up. Before I go, what would be like compromise? I think I got that from you.
Go through. I mean, I got it from Liner. I'll take credit, but yeah. Yeah. Somebody was saying something.
Yeah, so I used that one a little bit. So when you use that, does that typically prepare you, like, let's say that they do open up and kind of come out with some of their objections and concerns and you kind of handle those, does that prepare you for a close that day, or do you typically stick to that follow-up? And the reason I'm asking is every time I've done that, it always actually turns into a follow-up. Sometimes the follow-up's to close down, and sometimes they
It's frozen.
expect that.
You froze there. It's about half and half. But I think it's a little bit different when we're physically home. This is over the phone. But it's about half and half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, virtual, it's kind of awkward because you can't have that, like, standing up, walking to the door. It's like we're literally still both sitting on a video call.
Yeah,
so it's like a little bit different of a social context.
Yeah, the context is shifted. Yeah, it's not as much as like, yeah.
Yes, they're going to release one. There's
And then,
one other installation
at the
in
bottom of the
another.
chat,
We need to finalize details for that.
you know, you're just
Um,
this, but you'll
And another we need to finalize details for.
You'll be able to get a lot farther. So when you do sign them up, or when you do set the appointment, you have to look at the bottom of the chat. Like, if you want to keep somebody from canceling, it's like someone sitting here with someone who's like highly intelligent. Get a ton of idiots in here. These people don't know how to make decisions. They don't know what's best for them. They have no idea what they're doing in life. They just say yes to anything. So I'm going to have someone who actually knows and can make a good decision, but actually weigh all the options. Like, you get someone that needs to be like, it's like analytical, like that's really difficult. You get someone that's like more like significant than any info powerful. It's like I was fascinated with the book through the list here. You see something that checks all the boxes and you get really excited now with me. There's a lot of stuff here that the this is yours. That's actually the easiest thing to do. But let me go back and give you an example of how I want to think about it. You got Matt Ryder's in there, you got Miners in there, and then you got good old Paul Ross. This is, I'll explain it. Because I want to think about it. It's like, all I can say is my sprites person how naturally and easily you find yourself doing it today. The more you think how this is going to and and what that does, it's designed to be confusing. And confusion can be your best friend and it can be your enemy. So it just depends on how it's being used. And in this context, it just creates a temporary window of suggestibility because when the brain is confused, it needs certainty more than anything, and it will like shift the frame back to you and just become suggestible for you. And then you can throw in there, maybe it's not about, but it's like, yes, thinking about it like that, what do we get out of the table from comfortable this week? Sometimes you can throw confusion in there, just kind of like a wrench or a machine, just kind of like, and reset it. And that's a good one for at that time of the session. You'll see their eyes glaze over at that point. Resets the board.
Can you say that one more time? Can you just like read that off? However, how do you do that?
Yeah, all I can say is my sprites personal naturally, easily. If they find yourself moving ahead today, the more they think, oh, this is something new. And then they'll be confused. And then you go further. It's like, so it's like thinking about it like that. What do you get out of the table? So those are the three best ones. Again, get that. What other questions do you guys have? What do you guys want to get into? Oh, sometimes that's a little bit like that when they're in the notes. Look, Reese, I liked it a lot. I've been doing this a very long time. If there's one thing that I can definitely know, it's when I'm not getting the full story. You're going to just shut up. And they'll spill the beans. Sometimes when you ask a consequence question, this is a consequence statement. I would imagine if this wasn't handled soon, that some challenges would just kind of pop up out of here. Softer, less aggressive. I flipped the customer by saying this one. How could I communicate to you that you might be making the wrong decision without you getting upset with me? What other concerns you guys coming up with running into?
Joey, sorry, I don't mean to ask another question, but you work in the New Jersey market, right, for a little while?
That was the first market I was in. Yeah.
How do you feel? Because like New Jersey and New York people are a little bit day mentality more so. And it's like, you have my time here, so don't waste it. Show me numbers. But more so, I feel like than possibly any other state. But I can't speak for the rest of the country. But all I know is, New York people, time is money. And how do you? I guess how do you, as a whole, it's a very big question. As a whole, like, how did you feel like you had the most success when you were in that market?
That same person that says cut the chase from the numbers is also the person that's going to have them for dinner the same day, and you're going to be drinking, and you're going to be there for 5 hours. So like on the
It's like they're their own gatekeeper.
yeah. So on the doorstep, I'll cut the chase with you, cut the chase, and then identity. But like literally that same person is you're gonna be eating meatballs and drinking and watching games. That's like you'll be there for 5 hours. But at the beginning, like you're the one that's like taken away. I can't even stay long, quick, and then that cuts the chase. And then you can get ahead of the identity. That a lot of people that you can use identity to get them to like want to jump. When you're in the proposal and they want to jump to the numbers, you can get ahead of that. We talked about that the other week about the identity. They just want to jump in. They're kind of and those types of people that just want to jump in and see the numbers. They never really think things through. They're always like in reaction mode and they don't really know what they're doing in life. It's just really refreshing when you hear something like that's so you can start to use that identity. Yeah. No, you can keep the questions coming. If anybody has any questions, keep them going.
To add on that 5 hours comment about what's the average time you spend at home?
Good question. It just depends. Sometimes I have a lot of them. Depends on how many appointments I have on the schedule. If I don't have an appointment afterwards, then I'll hang out with you. And I had a buddy in town, and it was. I think this kind of goes. This is underrated. I have fun. It's hilarious. Like, but what I noticed is I make fun of myself, and my buddy that I'm with, I'm talking trash to him. He's talking trash to me. Like, but it's fun and it's lighthearted, and when you have that feel in the presentation, like the customers pick up on it. They like it. They feel like they can voice something. They feel like they can voice their concern, and they're not going to be judged. They're not worried about looking like idiots because like I've like made fun of myself a bunch as well, and it's just it's like fun banter back and forth. And so it's like this guy shoots. I can tell this guy shoots me straight, and they're way more likely to change the way they're looking at something when there's not this serious vibe. And now there's always points in the presentation where you're really serious and listen. But if I'm doing a PPA, like I should be in and out in like 42 minutes. Longs usually will go like a little bit over an hour. If I don't have any appointments, I'll hang out.
Is that like one touch that you're describing, or is this like you've set an appointment on a different occasion? I mostly do Zoom at this point, but
Sexy panels you got there, Nate.
thanks, brother.
I always do a two-touch, but a two-touch could be that day. It could be 30 minutes earlier, but I always do a two-touch. If they're both there, then I do, but I don't really expect that. But I usually.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say with the type of volume that you do, is a follow-up game something that you participate in, or is it more just like passive and until they get back with you, or for any ones that you don't?
You're looking at the worst follow-up game in the game.
That's what I see. Anybody who gets more and more volume, that just
solar, it is important because I guarantee, even if they're like closed off, not hearing anything, like I guarantee within 3 months they'll know somebody that will have solar. 100%. Yeah. Um, but yeah, it's systems in place. I'm being hypocrite here. I'm just telling you everything that we've all been told before. But they will, if you're staying in your area and you're working it right, like with North Dakota, you have like you'll even if somebody was like a punk closed off, not even open to it, I'll wait till there's an install on that street and then I'll go back when there's an install. Like I've literally saved them in the phone when they're like not nice names. And then the moment that the neighbor gets installed, you can go knock on the door, and it's like the whole neighborhood was baptized. It's insane. Like you guys could have even left yelling and like calling the cops on you, literally. But then once there's an install and you knock on the door and there's an install of the neighbor, it's completely different. And they're like signing up and they're giving referrals. It's like what the heck? Yeah. So yeah, follow up controls like you can double yourself just by following up.
Yo, do you go to your installs and knock the doors around the install? Like basically every time?
Yeah, if I'm in the, I live in Vegas, I do this to Cali, so I'm not always there when the installs happen, but yeah, knocking around the installs is huge, knocking around when it's getting surveyed, yeah, it's getting the site surveyed, and sometimes a vehicle in front of that, you can leverage that. I when I first hired miner, I was making money, instead of buying like the car that I wanted to buy, I went to the auction and bought this Ford Transit Connect, and I like wrapped it in solar, put my phone number on it, and I'd pull it and park it in front of a customer's house and put a cone out there. And then I would just talk and just point at my own car. And then I got a cease and desist letter from said company. And I was like, man, I was kind of hoping that my first cease and desist letter would go to something a little bit more badass than Ford Transit. Quinn, how's the presentation coming, man? You're muted, brother.
It's going well, dude.
I don't want to have a conversation with you until we can agree that you're going to make a decision.
That's right. So I switched that up completely,
Thank God that you did that.
and it's been a lot better. I'm getting questions at the end like, "What's the next steps? What do I do? How can we move forward?" So
Imagine that.
it's been money.
That.
Yeah, it's been money.
Counterintuitive. A lot of
Seriously,
the hard things in life are counterintuitive.
so true. So true.
Uh,
So yeah, it's been less sales resistance for sure.
so when you got center closers, the first thing you say when you walk into the house, like right when you knock, like the appointment's set for you, and then you're coming up. If it's a woman, say listen. If it's a guy, say look, and just say like, listen. I know you're probably not one of those people. You know, I speak to people all the time. They think that we're just coming in here to get you to invest. You seem a lot smarter than that, frankly. So when you're walking into the presentation, let that be the first thing that you say.
Joseph, I had a question real quick.
Yeah.
So if I heard you correctly, you two-touch every close. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, but I don't have like setters and closers, so like I'll knock it and set it and come back, and I go for the same day, but the same day's like a little bit different. The day's like 30 minutes later or later that day.
Gotcha. So when you say two-touch, you do the set and then you go back and close it?
Yeah, that's what the majority are.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't even go for the same day. If both of them are there, I know what kind of thing that. But I just like the two-touch. There's something about that, like when it comes to like pick up artists, if you go on a date with a chick, like if you take her out and you go to whatever the bar, and then you go to
Time Warp.
park, and then you go to like, there's just a lot of trust that's like built up in a short period of time. I think it's something like that.
Hey Joseph, this is Anthony. Do you do that to lower like the sales pressure to the client, get them comfortable?
I think you totally habit of doing two-touch. The solar they get it on time, so I want them to get installed. And if I wait for both decision makers to be there, so I think it does. I think it just builds a little bit more trust. I'm not saying that a one-touch couldn't be done. Part of our job is timing and finding both decision makers home. So,
I have a question, kind of maybe hypothetical. I don't know if you've ever done it, but if you found yourself where you had like a whole. I think he said, hold on, what's back in there?
somebody was like driving by, I was like super loud. Keep going.
Yeah, no sweat. So, campaign creates, an appointment, or really a customer can set the appointment yourself. But let's say that you have usage for them, and you got a customer, and they might have even like given their social and be like, hey, do a software. At that point, but it's your first meeting as an energy consultant actually communicating with them, but you do possibly have some info from them. If you were in that, you just like dropped into that reality. How would you take it from there? Would you attempt to do it in one touch, or would you do it in two touches?
If all the decision makers that are involved are present, I would run it.
Okay, and just get as far as you can, preferably to, and then if not, get like a calendar close and see if you can figure out what it is. Possibly still close.
Yeah, if all decision makers from whoever's involved looking at this, if they're present and they don't have to be somewhere in 15 minutes, yeah, I'll run it. I don't want to be in a rush, and I don't want to only do it to one person that then okay, I need to run this by X, Y, Z. I need to run by my spouse, whatever. Like, obviously, because if whatever she says, it's like this whole deal hangs on what he says. You don't want to have her do your job.
So avoid the one leg like almost at all costs.
Yeah, I won't give them what their numbers are. I'll dangle a carrot, but I won't give them their numbers until everyone is present.
Do you have like a mindset on a range that you're dropping if you are dangling a carrot? Or are you like
the carrot is just like they'll be like ballpark. Like sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Like but it's like the average person. Like suppose this for a woman end up working out like Johnson's, they will put your electrical save you X amount of time. Like what could do for you, right? Like but it's like every house is a little bit different. Each house can produce a different amount of power. Each house uses a different amount of power. Sometimes it lines up, sometimes it doesn't. But and then suppose this, and then even if anyways, and so I won't tell them their exact numbers until everyone's present.
Gotcha.
Even if they make up something like, gosh, we're having computer issues, software. But I won't. What's there to talk about once they have the numbers? Like that's what they're. So they're well know about their situation.
So, you said you made software issues. Is there something else that you found? I feel like if I were to pull that off, it would be like, well, let's have everything ready. That's how you come back.
If both decision makers aren't there, you can't run the appointment. Or you can just say my company doesn't allow me to, to just with one person. Both decision makers need to be here. Yeah, I mean, you can.
But doing so in an effective manner where we're not spending so much time and keeping their attention on Zoom's a little bit different than when you're in home. I've been able to be really successful via virtual, but just you have some clients that they're like, we just get to the pricing, like so. How do you go about your process without with customers that sometimes get a little impatient, things like that?
With
Hey Joseph, what if it's like a secret covert out and the husband doesn't want the wife to be present? Like I get that sometimes with like.
That's where sometimes getting a little impatient. More about that. So, the only thing I've seen actually work really works
or when they say, "Oh, can you just send me the proposal? Can you just send me the proposal?"
Yeah.
Things like that, you know, like I guess I've been running into that on virtual a couple more times than in home. So I'm just kind of curious as to continue to go about my process and doing it the right way without in order to be able to properly help them, I need to be able to go through the process. Some customers they just want the price.
Your spouse won't get you, like I don't want you to have to sleep on the couch. They said that like multiple times, and I'm gonna hold them to that. So if it comes to the end, like I speak with my spouse, it's like I'm like no, like speak with her absolutely. Go speak with her. I brought this up. You said no 3 times. Sounds like playing chains. It's okay. I can wait. And I'll wrap my feet around the chair. Sorry. Like he would lie 3 times. Like no. So it's like, oh yeah, of course, absolutely I get it. Like we asked him this before about like call him out in a nice way, a late book, like he did, and now he's going back on his word. Like there's nothing. You're never butthurt, but he needs to be held accountable. Otherwise, he's not going to respect you. Like you'll lose value. But you never want to. You want to stay composed. You don't want to posture. You don't want to collapse. You want to like stay detached, but you're holding to his word. Like, golly, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
I got kicked out of my own meeting, man. That's how it is. Like, that's hilarious. It's like, cool. Like, go grab her. I can wait. It's okay. And no, let me stop this screen share. So, I've had to do that a couple times.
So when a customer, say, for example, they're the decision maker, the sole decision maker, would it be good then to kind of like find a label to pin on that person to
there we go.
My
bad. Where we at? Gabe, when it comes to solution questions and problem awareness questions, we're going to do a recording next week. A lot of people have been sending in some recordings, and we'll be able to give a live break. You'll find people tell temporary truths. That'll help out specifically a lot for you. When it comes to like the problem awareness questions, my favorite that I get more traction on is just like, so like your electricity with the power company, do you like how things are going? And I'll say it that way. So your electricity with the power company, do you like how things are going?
Yeah.
And I found that I get the most traction when I say that, and then you can take them down that, like what is, and then after that, when I get into solution questions, it's the, so before today, we're out there looking for ways to like lower your bill. Do you have your script in front of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's role play it. So it sounds like the homeowner is, what do you want me to, how do you want me to be as a homeowner? Do you want me to be trying to like just rush you through, or what would you like?
Yeah, so like let's say I go through. So Joseph, it looks like. So let me start. So Joseph, I want to thank you for hopping on Zoom today. Looks like you hopped on this call to see about the possibility of seeing if we can help you lower your electric bill and possibly save you money as compared to the electric company currently.
Yeah, can go down to
What do you want me to?
Your question is, do I always wait for both decision makers to be there?
So how do you identify that? Let's say the husband can take the decision. Yeah, identify. Like asking questions to figure out that the husband is the decision maker, and then you can run the appointment just with him.
Did you say intensify?
No, identify.
Oh, identify.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I said the appointment, one of the things I was like, who all would be involved in this meeting? And then everybody wants to meet at the same time, and so I'll ask you, you and your spouse are ever available during the day? But yeah, it's like who all would be involved in looking at this with you?
That they say like, oh, it's me, I'm the decision maker.
You're the only one you're involved. Your spouse doesn't want to, like, it's like your spouse doesn't want your spouse to be involved with it. I plan on the spouse being there. Like, it's normally like, usually both of them do that. How much time would you and your spouse, ever here during the day? This is after I've already set the appointment settings here, which is like, your permission, like you suggest, is the next step, is that, put together a proposal to see if this is something that should work for you, appropriate, yeah, okay, who involved with you involved, but did this with you, every day, cool. You want to hedge against that as much as you can. And sometimes when you show up and they're both not there, I'll reschedule. The only time where I will still run it is if they're absolutely adamant. And there's been and when they're absolutely adamant about that multiple times, I'll run it, but I'll hold them to their word. Not in a dickish way, but or with a smile, not butthurt, and then have them go grab the spouse. Keep in mind that he needs to say things, there needs to be the right tone in there for him to be able to change the mind. And if you're in a power struggle,
Joseph.
Yeah.
Do you mind, and not necessarily working, would you mind kind of like walking through, your interview questions, I guess, or interview questions, and then kind of going through how you walk them through the numbers, show them their situation, do that, like, kind of transition from thing to thing to thing. Does that question make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if I have enough time on this call, but I think maybe we can do that next time, or I can shoot you a video and we can record it and post it in the chat for other people. When it, I, yeah, I, you already have a piece of
You
paper.
can put it on the docket. Yeah, put it on the table. That's
Yeah, I have a line of paper on my current situation, SCEs, facility out here, and then I have a paper, and this is their bill, and then I break it, one over 10 years, they'll spend this much, one over 25 years, they'll spend this much, and then what the electrical is now, what the electrical is in 10 years, like, electrical is there, and then we'll show them what that is, and then after when I get into it, it's like, if it ends up working out, I still hold that frame, that this is something that's been applied for and approved of. That's a good line that you guys can. This is something that's been applied for and approved of. It ends up working out, and sometimes I feel like I get a little bit better traction if I say if it ends up working out, you will avoid paying an extra X amount over the next 10 years.
Morning.
Good morning. What's up?
And a lot of times,
How's Cass doing?
It's not a garage quick thing, it ends up working out. Instead of this, it's this. If you avoid paying extra, whatever. Like over 25 years, we'll get, we'll end. Over the next 25 years, like instead of this, whatever's in your 401k minus that. And a lot of times they'll just agree on that without even talking about what the number is. Even though it's right there in the face, I don't really look at it. A lot of times it's like, okay, yeah, save a lot.
So then you start with the big numbers then, right? I think that's what I remember hearing.
Yeah, 10 years. Like if it ends up working out, it's not the first thing. It's like this, how to avoid potential, it's like that. And having focus on that, because that's, prices going through the roof. I mean, it looks like if it ends up working out, if you do a PPA, you can be like, who's paying for it there, so it doesn't really matter what we say. We'll see if the thumbs up or not. When we're frame with that. If it ends up working out, saying yes, instead of this. Would that be a bad thing? Would you regret that? Would you be upset? did this instead of this. Hope it works out. Any reason why you wouldn't want to participate? It's like a sophomore question that I've used. It ends up working out for that. Any reason why you wouldn't want to participate?
Do you always say this isn't a get rich quick thing every time you say the number or show the numbers?
I wouldn't say every time, but most of the time. I'm talking about like whatever became a millionaire, but instead of this, avoid paying extra. Whatever's in your 401k minus that. Yeah, keep going.
But if they can quantify the number in your mind and quantify it, let's say the next 10 to 25 years, even though you show it to them, or would you go around such an objection? I had that last
What do you mean? You do it for them. It's on paper in front of them. They need to see how you do those numbers.
right, and that's exactly what I did. And the person said, oh, well, I can't think so far into the future. I just have to focus on what's before me. That's too much on my mind. I don't want to think about that. That's what she said.
I'm sure the way that you went about it made me sound like that's interesting. I haven't heard that. There's something different spots in there. So I get it.
It's not the numbers, but she was saying like she don't want to think about the numbers in that way. It's just too much for her mind. She rather just pay the bill, and if there's an increase, she just pay it as it comes. But that's just too much for her thinking. So she couldn't quantify the reality as much as saying.
Basically saying that we have no idea what's going to happen over the next 10 years, and she doesn't care is what.
Right.
At the end of the day.
Right. That's what she was saying. She don't care.
I get it. I'm with you. I'd rather just pay it out of sight, out of mind. I don't think it's a big deal. Even if it could take me some money, it's just fine. Yeah. You got conscious questions, you can still go through it. It's like, I get it. Like, she shouldn't feel like she's computing anything. It's just that these are the numbers. Like, thought about what would happen in the situation got worse. Like, whatever's in your 401k, like, minus that, like, you need to shift it from the short term to long term. That's fine, I get that. You stay the course, like, instead of this much coming out, this much, if you avoid paying extra this. Like, she shouldn't feel like she's calculating anything.
Joseph, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How do you handle people who are like adamant about getting, a certain amount of quotes, like either 3 or 5 quotes? Like, how do you approach that?
Yeah, if that one question, I think it's in the chat. Suppose you're meeting with multiple companies who all meet your criteria. Which price, how would you then decide what to do? It's really, really, really good. You need to see how they see it. You need to see how they value it. And it kind of speaks to.
I'll upload everything that goes sent me earlier to that Google Doc that is in the invitation.
Reese, I'll reach out to you. Like we'll record it and we'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, I'm good with that. And then also, one last one. I don't want to cut you off, Logan. If you're done or not done, keep going. Okay.
Logan, real quick, like that's the best question is at the very beginning. Is that one? You need to see how they're seeing it, and then you need to probe people on that. Okay, tell me more about that. What is it about that that's important to you? Why that though? Like, and when you find out more about the situation with anybody, they'll be you as a trusted authority. But that one's money. Like, suppose they all meet your criteria, including price. How would you then decide what to do?
So you're saying you asked that at the beginning of the, like,
Yeah.
just the.
Like if I'm in an area where I hear that a lot, that'll be like a situation with questions like that.
Okay, gotcha.
It's your perfect beer, son of a bitch.
What'd you say?
I said, look at that perfect beard. I'm surprised you get any objections at all with that beard. Actually, what's going on?
Yeah, very Cajun.
It's also the DJ voice too, man.
See, the Fox hat on. That's why it gets all these objections. They're confused. Everybody's confused.
You can't have the Seahawks.
So, Joseph, ROI, for whatever reason, I just don't see the ROI.
Say that. What was that?
Yeah, so I've been getting this past week. I just don't see the ROI in it. I've been getting at a lot of doors this past week, but I was able to get in. That appointment that I sent you, I was able to get in on that ROI and objection, but it's it's been coming up recently more and more. So
Yeah, one or two things that either like kind of go over it, like yeah, that's exactly why I'm here, type thing, and then just keep going, or you can be like ROI, or like just depends. Can I ask why you asked that? So, or you can just be like, yeah, that could be a lot smarter than the past we went before. Just like a little bit different. We're a little ahead of ourselves on the production work for you, but like it did work out like David Johnson's, like, and then you can give an example that way. So depending on when it was brought up and like how serious it is, like on the door stuff, you want to be careful. You know that the more time you spend on an objection, the bigger deal you make it anyway. So you want to be careful about that. You also, and so there's times to, like sometimes I'm not ready to bring up the price because I don't feel like my value's been built. So I'm not going to go very deep on that. I'll just kind of like address it a little bit and then carry on, and then I'll bring it up when I feel like the value's there, right? So it's like the ROI on the doorstep. If that's something said within the first like 5-10 minutes, I might just be like, yeah, that's actually exactly why we're here. That's exactly why we're here. Just for that exact reason. That's going to be a lot of smart moving fast when we move forward. I'm not saying we could get a little ahead of ourselves. But the data ended up working out like that. And so this how we can actually do that for you.
More, Anthony.
But I suppose
What's going on, man?
This,
Good to have you here, brother.
How would that be a consequence or whatever? But usually, if I was to hear that early on, I would just, yeah, that's exactly why I'm here. Or if it's further in, then I will mirror ROI, and then I'll get underneath it. So depending on when I heard it later on, then I would want to know more about it by mirroring. When you mirror, they feel the need to say the same thing in another way, and when they say the same thing in another way, it gives us a picture of how they're seeing it. Like ROI, yeah, it's like it sounds like everyone's saying that.
More, Anthony.
Joseph, I think that conversation for everybody. How are you framing on, like, if that does come up, like, how are you framing ROI? Because I've had to explain it to people as, we're not really talking about return on investment, we're talking about avoided costs by spending money up front. Like, how do you think of return on it? Because, and then they go,
Say that again.
So like, because like where I was at in VA, like the air quotes return on investment was terrible.
Yeah.
Because it was 21 before they saw like the avoided cost was more than what they had spent on solar. So
They'll just agree on that without even talking about what the number is, even though it's right there in their face. I mean, no.
that's so like.
Explaining, yeah. Explaining, how that usually if I was to hear that early on, I would just, yeah, that's exactly why I'm here. Or if it's further in, then I would mirror, and then I'd get underneath it. So depending on when I heard later on, then I would want to know more about it by mirroring. When you mirror, they feel the need to say the same thing in another way. And when they say the same thing in another way, it gives us a picture of how they're seeing it politically. Like ROI, yeah, it's like, it sounds like everyone's saying that.
Well, Joseph, I think that interesting conversation for everybody. How are you framing on, like, if that does come up, like, how are you framing ROI? Because I've had to explain it to people as, we're not really talking about return on investment, we're talking about avoided costs by spending money up front. Like, how do you think of return on investment? Because, and then they go,
Say that again.
So like, because like where I was at in VA, like the air quotes return on investment was terrible.
Yeah.
Because it was 21 years before they saw like the avoided cost was more than what they had spent on solar. So like when people would bring that up, they're like, yeah, but we're not really talking about like ROI like in the traditional sense. We're talking about avoided cost. Like you're not going to be making a 10% return on solar every year or every month like you are with some of your investments. Like we're talking about spending money to save money in the long run. Like how do you look at ROI? And then they just go, that's a good question, man.
That's really good. It would just depend on when that was brought up because you have to explain that, right? And that was a very good way of just explaining ROI. Actually, that was really good. And if I was like in the presentation, that's really good. On the doorstep, it's like a lot to get into. Get into the weeds a little early.
Yeah.
On the doorstep, I just kind of not brush over it, but it's like, yeah, that's exactly what I hear. Like investment in the past. Old program, new program. But when it comes time to it, that's one good way. It's like, yeah, how do you look at all of it? This, yeah. Because what you said is exactly true and how it is. Recently, we were recording where a guy was like, ROI.
Well, especially if you're in a that doesn't have net metering and they don't like have a, I forget what they call that, like a level off.
True up or like a
True.
or over.
Yep. Yeah, because like it's like we do have that in VA, surprisingly, like with all the other bullshit that goes on up here around solar. Like we do have that, but like if you're, because like up here we have like 1,100 hours of usable sunlight, like maybe on a dead south facing roof with no trees on top of the hill. So it's like, yeah, so it's like you're basically building a system out that's almost like one for one what their usage is. So there really isn't much like incentive on buyback or anything like that because it basically washes at the end of the year. But I know in other states like Arizona and some like or other states like that, it's the production factor is massive because it's a fucking godless hellhole with sunlight all the time.
A good label to use is like, sounds like you're getting old school, come out of pocket, wet years to get your money back. I mean, yeah. Sounds like you're coming from the old school, come out of pocket, wait for everything to get your money back.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't really do that anymore, if that makes sense for everyone who had it. It's like a little bit different. But I think it's just one that's getting brought up. Because if you're in a presentation, you need to go through it. They need to understand that. And what that you went about that was, I like that. On the doorstep, that's just a little too much to get into. Because what I got, it's exactly what I'm here. It's a great response on the doorstep. I came across a place, no kidding, on the south, 2,000 some hours, 10 kilowatt produced 20,000 kilowatts. Oh, middle of nowhere. A little place called Ridgecrest. Everybody passed by there. It was nuts. It's rad. Where we at on time? We got 8:08. One more question. What we got?
And they were on a 2x production factor?
Oh gosh, they're SCE, so they're paying out the wazoo. And it was literally 200%. Yeah, Rich, it's nuts. Unreal. Higher than anywhere else in the country. The numbers were too sexy. The charging as much as I can legally charge, and still 70%. Retarded. Yeah.
Out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah. It's so crazy, the different markets and different things. Yeah. But sometimes, yeah, saving money is relative. What other questions you guys have? We got that stuff in the notes. He'll put it in the chat.
I got one last question for you then. So I was my homie today or this past week. This dude all he wanted to know was numbers. You know, what are the numbers? And we've kind of discussed that. That's not really what I focus away from solar numbers and start creating other, you know, needs or wants, or try to discover what else he's other than the numbers. What else is he looking at or looking for? I guess.
Usually those are progressive people, and they're like also like analytical, right? And so sometimes I'm like super transparent with them. Like I flipped it, someone like that the other day, and I literally just went to the page where I showed them the dealer fees. I'm like, look, this is the cost. I'm just like more transparent and more information and showing them more numbers, because that person needs to feel like they've got all the info before they make a decision. And anytime I can like bring something to their knowledge they didn't know, like they get off on that. Like that's like the most amazing thing in the world to them. And so I had a guy like that. I'm like, well, it just depends. Like they're like the numbers on their board, it just depends. And I literally went and I didn't worship. I have worship. Work with multiple stars, but I just went to the page and like, look, this is the low. This is the 25. You see, it's 1.49. This is this deal charging me 34% for what that number is, and then I was like crazy transparent. No one showing that before. You know, you can divide the pie however you want to. And then he ended up. I was like in a remote town, and he had a really cool credit union. I'm like, if you're able to find your own financing, if you want to know what the cash price is, just minus that 34%. That's the cash price. So if you're able to find your own financing, you can take that percent off. And he's like, really? He's like, yeah, I got the credit loan, I got this, cool. And that's what he ended up doing. But it was just like giving him more information, and that's collaborative. I do like that. Um,
How deep do you take that?
with people like I don't do that very often, but with people that are like that, I'll totally do that. They need to feel information or show them things that they've never seen before, and because the amount of transparency that they trust you, they're like, oh, okay, cool, you're giving me the best option here, right? Like it builds in the same amount of trust when you feel it's clever. So I do like that. Um, I still want to like. It sounds like cost is the only factor that's important to you, you know. So it's like, and like, how is cost determined? Like, how is that determined? So, and I'll explain it to them. Like, look, like if somebody's doing cost as a total amount, I'm gonna do a 25-year 6.99 with no dealer fee because you're looking at total amount. Like how is this being determined? You know, if you're determining this rather monthly, then I'll do this, this, and this. It's like how are you seeing this? You know, so it's like how is cost being determined here?
That's good. Okay. Just kind of give them those. I like that.
And then like identity, like there's other factors like usually people don't. There on the last call when we talked about identity, people just want to rush in with numbers. They need to feel like they get all the information. And a lot of times it's being super transparent. I had a guy the other day that we closed and had a poker face. I had no clue where the crap was. It's like what, you know, we're like, and but what I did notice was like when I showed the loan amount and he could like click on the calculator and score whatever he wanted, like just like crazy engaged. So literally like I'm like, okay. And if I just think the fact that I was really transparent with that, he felt there was no trust issue sign. And so anytime you can show them things, teach them things that they've never heard before, it goes like long way. But then just like it's how much depends is a great answer. It just depends, you know. Like here, when you show them like this is what we're looking at. Balls going forward, you cut up however you want to. But nobody's done that before. We're kind of like us through, and it's very, very collaborative. I don't work out.
Thank you. That's perfect.
Yeah. Keep it posted, man. 803. Yeah, it's good. Write down your questions. Record these things, and then you can send it over to me. I love going over them. Love helping out. And then a question a day keeps the bill collectors at bay. Memorize a question a day.
I'm out of here. Good seeing you all. Sorry, I'm being.
You're cool.
You guys. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks.
make sure I get rid of things so I don't take them with me when I move. Right? Yeah. Don't worry, there's not going to be many students moving in around grey things.
Well, I saw a place Toon Galley in Seven Hills.
Huh?
Seven Hills and Toon Galley. They're expensive, my darling. 450 with bills and issues. I got to download it.
Yeah, well, I